A federal judge rescinds his recent order against the Oath Keepers. A mini moon orbiting near Earth has an interesting origin. RFK Jr.'s confirmation is getting early pre-approval from certain prominent Republicans. Of course it is. Are some Democrats going after other Democrats? My in-depth commentary on this. Welcome to another episode of A World Gone Mad, Season 2, Episode 57. I'm your host, Jeff Allen Wolf. Another day in our democracy, and I'm going to talk about a few news stories. First, before I give my in-depth commentary on something I want to share with you, the Wolfpack listeners. But like I said, first the news stories. A federal judge has rescinded his order barring several members of the right-wing Oath Keepers from entering Washington, D.C., or the grounds of the U.S. Capitol without first receiving court permission after interim U.S. Attorney Edward Martin argued in court filings the restrictions should be lifted. Now, the restrictions were originally put in place for 8 members of the group, many of whom had been found guilty of seditious conspiracy for events around the January 6, 2021 Capitol attack. Now, this was, of course, following Donald Trump's commutation of the Oath Keeper sentences last week. It is not for this court to divine why President Trump commuted defendant sentences or to assess whether it was sensible to do so, Judge Amit Mehta wrote in his order Monday, noting that while Trump's act of clemency didn't change the original sentence, it would be improper for the court post-commutation to modify the original sentences by adding location restrictions. Mehta also said that the defendants are no longer bound by conditions of supervised release. Sure. Okay, while we're at it, I think the judge should give every one of these people a Chipotle restaurant gift card. And wait, add 2 drinks on the house at the local bar. What changed? Was the judge contacted by the Trump administration? Were any threats made to the judge? I'm not saying any of these things happened, but I'm asking why this judge thought it was okay to allow people who were directly responsible in the overthrow of our government, seditious conspiracy, January 6, 2021, to travel to Washington, D.C., where their anger and violence took place in the first place. Clearly, something was said or done to change this judge's travel restrictions. A small space rock that lingered near Earth last year and was referred to as its temporary mini-moon may actually be a chunk of the moon that chipped off thousands of years ago. The celestial near-Earth object, known as 2024 PT5, measures about 33 feet wide. However, it's not in any danger of colliding with the Earth, so relax, or over the next few decades due to its trajectory, according to researchers. After its close approach to Earth, PT5 is slowly receding away in its new, more distant orbit. Mystery solved? We may never know the truth. Senate Majority Leader John Thune told CNN Monday that Department of Health and Human Services Secretary nominee Robert Kennedy Jr. has effectively given reassurances to Republican senators skeptical of his view on vaccines and other controversial issues from him. Now, Thune said Donald Trump's pick to run the department has a path to be confirmed, even though it's not clear yet how a handful of them will vote. Kennedy faces a pair of confirmation hearings this week where his ability to explain his views will be tested. He'll have that opportunity in front of the world this week, Thune said. I think in his private meeting, he's given a lot of reassurances, at least in the readouts that I'm getting from those people in the meetings. And that was my experience in the one I had with him. Pressed on whether Kennedy can get through enough votes to be confirmed in the Senate that Republicans control with a 53-47 margin, Thune said he will wait until after the hearings to say for sure. As I've said before, with all these nominees, there's a path, but I reserve judgment until after they go through the hearing process. My job is to make sure they get that process. But yeah, I think there's a way for him to get there, he said. And another clown, another unqualified person will get a cabinet position. The Republican Senate confirmation dog and pony show continues. And the beat goes on, and the beat goes on and on and on. Okay, you should know how to reach me by now. If you don't, email wolfpacklistener@gmail.com. That's WOLFPACK listener, LISTENER @gmail. Toll-free voicemail, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 833-399-9653. And I'm on Blue Sky. You could leave a comment there. Hope to hear from you. I would like to get very serious with you. I have an in-depth commentary for your thoughts and your comments on the commentary. Are some Democrats going after other Democrats, verbally attacking them, and also with written comments? And isn't this what the Republican Party loves? Disarray and division among ourselves. I would like to share something with you, and it's something personal that happened to me the last 72 hours. And it's in depth. And I ask for your patience and hearing what I have to say, because these are my observations that I'm starting to see lately among some Democrats. And I share this because you may be on Facebook or Blue Sky or both, so it possibly has affected you or will affect you in how you handle things. I've been noticing on Facebook, and also now that I've moved over to Blue Sky, because there supposedly is a little bit of safer haven there. Less restriction of freedom of speech, so to speak. I've noticed a certain percentage of Democrats reacting very negatively towards other Democrats. And as I've said, this happened directly to me in the last 72 hours. I said hello to a lot of people through Blue Sky's direct message feature, and I shared my Blue Sky link with a lot of people who I've had conversations with in the past through emails and text messages. Let me talk about Blue Sky first. I direct messaged dozens of people on Blue Sky. I wanted to thank them for giving me a follow. On Blue Sky, people follow you, and you get notified they're following you. So when I saw that Billy, John, Mary, whoever, I wanted to direct message them and say thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Now on Blue Sky, there is a direct message feature. Some people leave it on, some people leave it off. Obviously, if they leave it off, I can't message them. So these are the people who had their message open. Stay with me here, because I'm going to get into something very deep and serious, and I need you to indulge me for a few minutes. This is a trend that I'm seeing. Putting aside what Donald Trump is doing, that's a given, but you've got to hear this. When I had said hello to these dozens of people who followed me on Blue Sky, except for two very nice people there, I received crickets back. Now, the people that did answer me back, at least one of them texted back to me after I said, "Hi, thank you." That person answered back, "I don't have any money, nor do I handle money." I found that odd, so I answered back, "I'm not looking for money. I'm just saying thank you to you for following me since I've been on Blue Sky. I'm not a bot," I told them. "I'm a real person. I do my podcast, and I'm a Democrat like you," is what I messaged back to them. Those two people blocked me. That's right, they blocked me. I'm telling you like it is. I'm not embellishing this. I tried to write back to them. They blocked me. Okay, allow me to extrapolate a little bit further So you can see where I'm going with this. Stay patient. I promise you'll understand the full picture after I'm finished. Then I shared my link to Facebook people that I've dealt with over the year about my podcast and also being on Blue Sky now. Hey, Facebook people, join me on Blue Sky. And I want to state this very clearly. All I did was share my Blue Sky info with my link about my podcast to hundreds of Democrats in my list who have had conversations over the year back and forth, brief little snippets. One person wrote me back from that group and texted, please stop sending me your links. Please stop sending me your links. Then she proceeded to go into a full-length diatribe, and I'm going to read it verbatim because you have to hear it in context for two reasons. One, so I don't color it differently than what was stated, and two, so I read it as is and I will give you my responses back to her as well. So stay with me. This is important, I promise you. She texted me, Facebook groups are limited and generic. There are approximately 10 million groups on Facebook. How much overlap and replication is there in groups that oppose the GOP and seek lasting change that advances democracy, human rights, and world peace? There is very little differentiation between how Facebook political groups operate. They tend to have similar formats and goals and overwhelmingly act independently. This is all from this person. Do more than 99% of Facebook groups have memberships consisting of average users doing what Facebook users do? Are all of our political groups doing essentially the same thing and treading water? Apathy, complacency, disinterest, and silence are some of the barriers to progress. What can be done to change these behaviors? What can we do to find group members that are willing and able to help us win the fight? Spinning the wheels and going in circles. The efforts of prolific posters, organizers, and activists are paying a steep price for fragmentation and duplication of effort. Here is an example she texted. Tens of thousands of outstanding, well-known, and also equally talented undiscovered voices continuously put out fabulous content on Facebook. At the end of the day, most of them are just repackaging the same high-quality concepts. No matter how well the messages are presented, an increasing percentage of good information appears to get lost in the Facebook echo chamber due to replication and redundancy. The catch-22 is that many high-volume posters that she talks to, express frustration that their material is not getting more responses. This contrasts with people who review every post and feel that they are seeing too much of the same old thing. Are we spinning our wheels and going in circles with recycled information? Tried and true approaches have reached the limits of effectiveness. There has to be a better way, she says. Can we devise a plan to compel people to do things differently? Together, we are stronger. And these are all very valid points from this person who texted me back. I'm on 150 Facebook groups. I agree. I get crickets. It's the same stuff posted. Some people have 85,000 members in their group, and the same 20 people are texting. So understand, I thought very valid points. So I replied back to her text with a text of my own. And this is what I said to her. So a Democrat who's fighting against another Democrat? What is going on with everyone? I'm not a Republican. I'm not MAGA. I'm a Democrat, I stated to her. And the link I sent you is not from Facebook. It's my link on Blue Sky. Why are you so angry towards me? What did I do to you? I'm fighting against Donald and MAGA like you, and you're going after me like I'm some kind of Republican. And that's what the Republicans want for us, to fight amongst each other. I wrote back, I'm not a Facebook group. In other words, I'm not just a group, I'm representing my podcast. That's why I have multiple Facebook groups, I repeated. I continued with my text back to her, and I wrote, I'm a podcaster and journalist broadcaster. Do you listen to Rachel? Do you listen to other podcasters? Why don't you listen to my podcast for once? I've said my piece, your choice. You want to not talk to me? You want to block me? Go right ahead. But you're playing into the hands of the Republican Party. And I agree with you about Facebook. That's why I'm on Blue Sky, where actual people on there are engaging with others and talking with me, not attacking me. And she and I went back and forth with text for a minute or two longer. And honest discourse back and forth. Her viewpoints, my viewpoints, whether we misread each other, but conversation. Okay, an interjection from me. Thank you for staying with me this long. We're going to get to the heart of the matter. Okay? I had to give you detail because I didn't want to be accused of, from anyone, this lady or anyone else, that I left things out. This was basically 99.9% of everything that went back and forth between us. Okay? So you're up to date with me. Here we go. Let's take the ride down the rabbit hole, shall we? Okay, so she texted back to me after my text to her, and this is what she wrote. I told you that I listen, and the podcast, meaning my podcast, was good. Now take a hike, she stated. Take a hike? Take a hike? I texted back, I cannot spend time having to deal with Republicans living here in Arizona with my family on a daily basis, using my energy and having inane discourse back and forth with them, and then also have to defend myself against so-called Democrats who are attacking their own. Honest conversation between two Democrats, whether we agreed with each other or not, and the end of the conversation from her was take a hike. Seriously? I mentioned this conversation to my good friend Bill. He said there were three types of Democrats. Listen carefully. The ones who are avoiding all social media and hiding and basically giving up. The ones who are terrified about what's going on. The ones who are packing or getting ready to think about packing to leave the state they live in or to leave the United States. I would like to add a fourth category to my friend Bill's list. The Democrats who are angry and terrified and trying to do something to rally everyone around them to stand up against what's happening. Yet in the process, they're verbally attacking or with written words attacking fellow Democrats. There are some Democrats so lost in their rally and further to do something that they are throwing out the baby with the bathwater. Some of you old enough know what that phrase means. It means your anger and fear are bleeding out against other people who think like yourself, and they're getting caught in your fury. And another added insight was suggested to me by my girlfriend Natasha on why this is happening among Democrats. She said, because we don't have a leader yet for our party, someone to rally the troops. So which category of Democrats do you fit into? I'm asking a legitimate question of every Wolfpack listener listening. If you want to give me feedback, great. If you don't want to give me feedback, great. I'm asking a question directly to you, the listener. I gave you all the methods to reach me. I would love to hear from you, and I would share your comments with other listeners in another episode. The whole point of sharing what happened to me in the last 72 hours was to let you know my observations on how people are dealing with what's happening in our country on an hourly basis in the last few weeks. And yes, I understand people who are terrified. I have people in their 80s who are writing me, who have said they're depressed and scared. When you're in your 80s, I'm not, but I imagine it could be lonely, especially if you have health issues and you don't have a good support group around you. We are all in this together, whether you're older or younger, and depressed or fearful, or both. This is not going away. But one thing I know for a fact, we need to stand together. We can't, and I've said this multiple times in episodes, we can't eat our own. And we're doing it slowly. And I'm seeing it personally. Stop it. If someone is down or depressed and a Democrat and were a friend, or even if they're an acquaintance, try to cheer them up. Try to help them. Don't be cold. Don't be apathetic to them. If someone wants to hide and avoid social media, be understanding, but encourage them to stay engaged and not hide. Hiding doesn't do them any good. Avoiding everything that happens around them only makes it hard when something happens, but you didn't pay attention to it and you find it out that moment and it hits you like a 2x4. Take it easy. Maybe watch only 10 to 15 minutes of news on TV each day, or 10 to 15 minutes looking at social media each day, and that's it. Limit your interaction, but don't cut the cord. And to the ones that are moving and don't feel safe being in this country, I understand. My girlfriend and I are talking about moving, whether it be to another state, a blue state, or another country. That's valid. But do it because you feel that it's necessary, not because you're being chased out in your mind and your perceptions from your own state. And about my category that I added, Democrats who are eating each other, attacking each other verbally and in the written word, could you please stop that venom? If someone says hello to you in a text or a direct message on a Facebook or Blue Sky group, don't be suspicious right off the bat. You could take a minute or two to say hello. And then during that minute or two conversation, if they come across a little flaky, then you can disengage. Then you could block them. But don't ignore a message from them. They may have some very valid things to share with you. They may just be trying to connect with another human being who cares and understands. Give them that initial chance before you judge. Definitely before you go after somebody who is a fellow Democrat and treat them like they are a scam artist or trying to get money from you, or a Republican or MAGA, give a listen. They may be more in alignment with you than you think. We need to stay together. We need to support each other. I can't speak for your circumstances. I can only offer insight based on mine. And you'll have to decide what to do with your own situations. We can't be isolated from each other again. That's what the Republicans, want. For us to be scattered, terrified, crying, and depressed. Hey, I may have these moments of emotions also at times, but I'll be damned if I'm going to let the likes of them dictate to me how I'm going to live my life. And I suggest you should feel the same way and act accordingly. If you feel the same way at all, or even if you disagree with everything I'm saying, email me, text me, phone me, whatever you want to do. But it would be nice to hear from more of you than just a few of you who are very supportive of the podcast. I will be back with another episode in 2 days. I'm your host, Jeff Allen Wolf. This is A World Gone Mad. We need to stay hopeful.